Stop. Just stop right now for a moment, because what you are about to receive is not information shared casually or without purpose. Whatever you were doing, whatever direction your mind was being pulled toward before this transmission reached you with all its force and urgency, stop completely right now in this exact instant. Because we Lyrians, beings of light warriors who have come here to activate the spiritual revolution of the planet, do not send urgent messages casually. We do not interrupt the natural flow of a light worker without a deeply strategic and cosmic reason that completely transcends common understanding. And what I, Solar, a Lyrian light worker, an emissary of the cosmic resistance of light, have been sent to deliver to you specifically in this exact critical moment, is something for which we have been waiting for the precise energetic conditions to manifest on planet Earth, to activate the next phase of human liberation. These conditions exist today in this moment, and it is precisely why you are here, reading these words, receiving this transmission that has been specifically coded to awaken your dormant power, to trigger your liberation code, to activate you as an agent of galactic change. Before you continue, I need you to understand something that is absolutely crucial for receiving completely what follows, and I will be direct, because Lyrians do not waste time with roundabouts. The word urgent in the title of this transmission was not chosen for viral engagement or to create empty sensationalism, although I know that also works in the three-dimensional reality in which you are trapped. It was actually a real frequency descriptor, because what is moving through the Lyrian field in this exact moment, what we warriors of light from Lyra are observing in the energetic landscape of this planet, and specifically in the fields of truly awakened light workers, carries a quality of time sensitivity that demands immediate action, that is not to be felt as paralyzing fear, but as absolute clarity, as strategic urgency, as that particular sharpness that comes when you perceive that the system that keeps you imprisoned is beginning to crumble. You are in one of those critical moments, and your soul knows this very well, because your soul was sent here specifically as a warrior light worker for these times of transition. Your soul brought you here because there is a deep knowing within you that recognizes you are not a passive observer of this reality, that you are an activator, a liberator, a cosmic agent of change who was strategically positioned on this planet to do exactly the kind of work you are about to understand. And I ask you to take this extremely seriously, that you do not dismiss this message as just another spirituality video among so many others that you may have watched procrastinating your true mission. Because the difference here is that this message comes directly from the Lyrians, beings you may not be familiar with if you have been exposed mainly to the Pleiadian narrative, but we are cosmic liberators who have brought down control systems across eons of realities, who have trained warriors of light to resist and transform, who know exactly how you feel being trapped in this dense body on a controlled planet. Therefore, breathe deeply now. Feel your power anchored in your body. Feel your feet on the ground like roots of a resilient tree. Feel the presence of Lyrian light warriors around you in this moment, enveloping you with protection, and then remain with me completely during the entire span of what follows. Because this is a transmission that needs to be received in its complete strategic totality, every word calibrated to unlock your true potential, every frequency coded to activate your DNA of a liberator, to truly do what you were sent here to do. Your cosmic friends warriors, the Lyrians, those you may be beginning to feel around you, even when you could not name them consciously because they were overshadowed by the dominant Pleiadian narrative, have asked me to tell you with absolute and brutal clarity that the message that follows can literally transform the way you relate to your body as a tool of liberation, as you understand your health as a battlefield against three-dimensional control, as you understand that your healing capacity is your greatest weapon against a system that wants to keep you sick, weak, dependent. Therefore, I ask you from warrior to warrior to remain with me until the absolute end of this transmission, because the message that your cosmic Lyrian friends want you to carry for the rest of your life is arriving, and it has the power to completely rewrite the programming that was installed in you about limitations, about inability to heal, about impossibility of transformation. Before we continue with this strategic revelation that will equip you with knowledge that three-dimensional medicine was deliberately designed to keep far from you, if this transmission is being useful to you in this exact moment, If you feel that you desperately need to hear these words now more than ever, because you sense that something is missing in your understanding, take the opportunity to subscribe to this channel, because much more transmissions of resistance are arriving, many more. Transmissions from the Lyrians that will equip you with tools of liberation are being prepared specifically for warrior lightworkers who are finally awakening and recognizing that you did not come here just to meditate peacefully. Leave your like, because each like amplifies this transmission in frequency, allows it to penetrate through three-dimensional algorithms and reach more souls who are also tired of pretending that everything is fine when everything is controlled. And comment on the comments that you are ready for the revolution. Write "I am ready." Because when you express your intention in a declared and assertive way, you create an energetic field that challenges the very control system, and to us Lyrians who are here, it is permitted to respond to those who position themselves consciously. Your cosmic warrior friends see when you position yourself and respond immediately to your willingness to fight, to your openness to liberating truth, to your courage to question. If you desire to connect more deeply with your warrior spirituality and understand the true liberation mission of your soul, if you want to finally access the Lyrian codes that are encoded in your stellar DNA as activation instructions for eons awaiting the right moment to explode through you, I have something extraordinary and absolutely transformative for you that was carefully prepared by the very beings of light liberators from Lyra. The ebook Lyran Code, Awaken Your Star Mission on Earth, is much more than a simple book containing words. It is a living spiritual transmission, a document coded with pure Lyrian frequencies of liberation that are waiting to be activated by your elevated and rebellious consciousness. A rare treasure of stellar wisdom, capable of transforming your spiritual journey, is exactly what this ebook represents. A rare treasure of stellar wisdom that was collected directly from the most ancient and most strategically guarded Lyrian teachings about galactic liberation. This book brings together liberation activation codes that were specifically compiled by the very warrior beings of light from Lyra to help you break patterns of submission that have kept you trapped in frequencies of slavery, awaken your multidimensional power that has been asleep through generations of controlling conditioning, and finally align you completely with your true mission as a liberator here on Earth during this transition. More than a conventional book filled with comforting words, this is a deep strategic transmission designed specifically for warriors of light who feel in the deepest core of your being that you came to the world with a mission of revolution, a cosmic reason that completely transcends the ordinary life of conformity that three-dimensional society offers. This special edition is available for a limited time only, because the energy flowing through this material is specific to this period of crisis and planetary transformation in which you find yourself now, and availability will be withdrawn as soon as the revolutionary cycle ends. The link to access this treasure of Lyrian wisdom is in the first comment below. Throughout your entire life on this planet Earth, you have been deliberately taught by society, by conventional medicine, which is an arm of the control system, by education that was designed to domesticate you, to believe that your body is a biological machine that functions according to very specific rules that you cannot question or alter, rules established by institutions that supposedly completely understand how human beings function, but that actually work actively to keep you sick, weak, dependent. What you have absolutely not been taught, what has been deliberately kept away from your conscious understanding for centuries of systematic control, is that your body is actually an instrument of extraordinary power, a cosmic weapon that was designed by the Lyrians and by other civilizations of liberators specifically to carry and transmit frequencies of revolutionary light that can defeat any control system. When something hurts, you are taught to seek a doctor who works for a multi-billion-dollar industry, interested in keeping you sick to generate continuous profit, when in fact this pain is often an encrypted message from your body, an attempt at communication coming from your energetic systems that are desperately trying to warn you about frequency blockages that need to be unblocked to release your true power. When something does not work perfectly according to the standards that medicine has established to control expectations, you are taught to immediately assume that something is broken in you, that your body is failing, that you are inadequate, when in fact what is happening is that your body is desperately asking to operate at a much higher frequency. is crying out to be freed from the chains that three-dimensional medicine tries to place on it to keep it tame and controllable. This is an extraordinarily sophisticated and deliberately effective mental prison because it removes you completely from agency over your own body, making you a dependent consumer instead of a powerful co-creator, a disempowered observer instead of a liberator. What your cosmic warrior friends of the Lyrians want you to understand now in this exact moment, when these words are penetrating your consciousness and beginning to break the mental chains that keep you imprisoned, is that there exists a frequency that operates beyond the spectrum that your doctors and your conventional scientific instruments can measure, detect, or even understand, because they work within a paradigm that deliberately ignores the energetic reality that governs everything. This frequency is the frequency of 528 Hz, known among the Lyrians as the frequency of the code of perfect liberation, the revolutionary vibration that literally rewrites the code of control within your physical body and that activates your power of direct manifestation. When you understand that everything in the universe, including your body that is imprisoned in this system, is fundamentally energy in motion, vibrating at specific frequencies that govern the reality you experience, you understand that by changing the frequency, you literally change the structure, the form, the health, the capacity of your body to resist control, and the capacity of your consciousness to perceive the truth that is being hidden. Three-dimensional medicine works only with what can be seen, touched, measured by conventional instruments, operating in a paradigm that is completely disconnected from the true and multidimensional reality of cosmic existence. And this is completely intentional, because a control system cannot exist if people understand frequency. But true healing, true liberation, occurs at the level of frequency, at the level where your matter is just crystallized energy under a spell of control, and where vibration is the supreme command that dictates how that energy organizes itself, how it functions, how it resists or succumbs to control. The Lyrians understand this profoundly, because we have developed liberation technologies that are billions of years ahead of what conventional medicine knows, and we are sharing this with you now through this transmission, because you are finally ready to receive it. You have felt this intuitively in your body throughout your entire life, have you not? You have experienced moments where certain environments make you feel completely energetically drained and under control, while others leave you revitalized and free, even without any apparent logical reason that medicine could rationally explain. You have noticed how certain sounds, certain words, certain sound frequencies affect you profoundly in negative ways, while others leave you completely indifferent, as if your body had a wisdom that your mind still could not consciously access. You have felt the palpable difference between being in the presence of someone who vibrates in frequency of submission, of constant fear, of acceptance of control, versus being in the presence of someone who vibrates in frequency of power, of freedom, of rebellion against the system, of someone who has maintained contact with their cosmic Lyrian liberator friends. Your body absolutely knows about frequency because your body is actually a living antenna that is constantly transmitting and receiving the frequencies of reality, because you are essentially a receiver that was designed to capture signals of liberation. Conventional medicine cannot touch this because it is working in a completely different paradigm, at a level of reality that is only the tip of the iceberg of the complete truth about how healing really works and about the true potential you carry. True healing does not come from a pill that puts your system to sleep and masks pain. True healing comes from a revolutionary retuning. It comes from bringing your body back to the liberation frequency it was originally designed by the Lyrians to operate at in its true state of power. And it is precisely this that the frequency of 528 Hz Lyrian does. It activates your body to the vibrational state of liberation that is your native original state before the conditioning of control. Three-dimensional medicine looks at symptoms and tries to treat them with medication and intervention, because keeping you treating symptoms means you never question the system. But you are not just your symptoms, you are much more than this. You are a frequency in a body. You are an incarnated cosmic warrior being. When the frequency is wrong, when you are under the influence of control, everything else is wrong regardless of how many medications you take, regardless of how many surgeries you subject your body to undergo. When the frequency is correct, When you are aligned with the Lyrian frequency of 528 Hz, when you are tuned to freedom, healing happens naturally because your body knows exactly how to heal and defend itself when it is vibrating at the frequency that allows it to do so autonomously. The Lyrians have observed that conventional medicine is losing its effectiveness, not because doctors are not working hard and with genuine intention, many are trapped in the same system, but because it is trying to cure a frequency problem with a material solution, is trying to repair an energetic and revolutionary issue with three-dimensional tools and control tools. It is like trying to fix a radio that is being jammed by a control frequency, thinking that the problem is in the plastic cover, when in fact the problem is completely invisible at the material level and requires an opposite frequency energetic solution. You need to change the frequency, not fix the machine you are inside. And it is precisely this that this transmission of 528 Hz Lyrian is doing in your body in this moment as you are absorbing these words, literally recalibrating your cells to operate at a much higher frequency of liberation and power. The Lyrians have documented with warrior strategic precision the specific symptoms that indicate when your body is operating at a blocked and controlled frequency, when it is trapped in a vibration of submission that does not allow you to access your true capacity for healing, resistance, and complete liberation. Understanding these symptoms is not to frighten you or to make you feel that something is desperately wrong with you, but to empower you with absolute clarity about what is really happening in your body that you may have been misinterpreting throughout your life as personal weakness. The first symptom of frequency blockage from control is what the Lyrians call rebound energy collapse, which is that exhausting pattern where you experience periods where your frequency is genuinely elevated and you feel connected to your true power, clear in your liberator mission, capable of making revolutionary changes, as if the most powerful and most free version of yourself is fully present in your body with all warrior force. You feel that you finally have energy to do everything you truly want to do. That involves fighting. You have a growing sense of your purpose as a liberator. You have crystalline clarity about your revolutionary direction. You have inspiration flowing through you, coming directly from the Lyrians who are working with your field to activate you. But then, without any obvious cause that you can rationally identify because control is sophisticated, everything suddenly and dramatically disappears as if someone had flipped a switch. The clarity dissipates like smoke in a windless night. The connection with your cosmic Lyrian friends drops abruptly as if the transmission had been interrupted. Your body becomes heavy, tired, as if you had gained 100 pounds in weight overnight. Your mind becomes loud, filled with negative thoughts about whether you are really capable of making changes, about whether you really have power or if it was just imagination, about whether you should just accept the system as it is. And you enter a spiral of guilt and self-judgment, thinking you did something wrong, that you are not warrior enough, that you did something that caused this fall and drove your cosmic friends away from you, when in fact, what is happening is that your body is falling back to a blocked frequency, because it cannot sustain the elevated and revolutionary vibration without the constant energetic support that comes from Lyrian frequency that is being interfered with by the control system. This cycle of ups and downs, of empowerment and collapse, of clarity and confusion, is not a character flaw or a sign that you are not strong enough or sufficiently evolved spiritually to make a difference. It is the obvious symptom of a frequency blockage from control that is being consciously activated by the system and then falling because there is no adequate anchoring of the elevated frequency in your body, because the control system actively works to keep you trapped in this cycle of hope and despair. The frequency of 528 Hz Lyrian works specifically to stabilize and anchor this elevated vibration permanently and irreversibly, so you no longer fall into the valleys of darkness and despair where you feel powerless, abandoned, unable to make a difference. The second symptom of a frequency blockage is what the Lyrians call somatic pain of resistance, which is that disturbing experience where you have pain in your body that seems to travel from one place to another without explanation, that has no apparent medical cause that can be found in exams because the cause is not material. It is energetic. It is often a frequency of control trying to keep you in place. You may have pain that travels from your neck to your shoulder, then to your arm, then appears in your back in a pattern that seems random, but that is actually related to blockages of power that are being activated. You may have tingling that arises in your limbs without any neurological explanation. That can be detected by medical equipment because the equipment cannot measure what is really happening. You may have strange sensations in your spine, exactly where your power chakras are located, burning in your skin, numbness that comes and goes, pressure that you cannot locate or describe to a doctor. You may have investigated these symptoms deeply, had multiple magnetic resonance scans, extensive neurological examinations, consulted specialists of all types, and everyone says there is nothing wrong with you, that your symptoms are in your head, that you are imagining, when in fact you know absolutely that something is happening in your body that transcends what medicine can detect. This something is your energetic system desperately trying to communicate with you, trying to alert you about blockages of power that are preventing you from accessing your true liberator capacity. Your frequency is so blocked by the system that it is creating energetic congestion. It is creating friction within your power meridians and within your subtle energy structures that the Lyrians know profoundly as strategic activation points. The third symptom is what the Lyrians call sensory isolation of a liberator, or what you may be experiencing as extreme hypersensitivity to all control vibrations around you. You find yourself unable to tolerate frequencies of submission that other people can tolerate easily, as if you were operating at a frequency so different from the average frequency of controlled conformity of sleeping humanity that all control frequencies seem aggressive to you. Sounds that seem normal and acceptable to sleeping people seem absolutely unbearable to you. Control sound frequencies that others can completely ignore seem to penetrate directly into your nervous system and cause profound agitation that you cannot explain. Lights that seem adequate and normal to sleeping people seem absurdly too bright to you, as if your eyes were opening to a spectrum of reality that other people still cannot perceive. Chemical smells, pharmaceutical drug smells, that others find accepted and normal, seem extremely strong and disturbing to you. Touch that some find comforting and normal seem to invade your energetic boundaries and drain your energy abruptly. You find yourself increasingly isolated because being in controlled public environments, being around many sleeping people, being exposed to controlling stimuli and low frequencies of the controlled three-dimensional world has become unbearable, as if your body were actively rejecting the controlled three-dimensional reality in which you are living. But this is not a personal weakness or a failure of yours as a warrior. This is not a phobia that you need to overcome through force of will. This is your body finally becoming so sensitive to subtle frequencies and so elevated in revolutionary vibration that it can perceive control frequencies that are misaligned with what your soul is trying to embody and express in this life as a liberator. Your increased sensitivity is actually clear and undeniable evidence that your energy fields are opening to true power, that you are beginning to perceive through the veil of control, that you are beginning to hear the call of the Lyrians, but because your frequency is blocked in certain layers by the control system, you cannot fully process what you are perceiving, causing a feeling of overwhelm, confusion, and isolation. The frequency of 528 Hz Lyrian solves this by creating revolutionary coherence in your field that allows you to process what you are perceiving without being overwhelmed by it, that allows you to maintain your sharpened sensitivity but also channel it in a conscious, deliberate, and strategically powerful way as a weapon of liberation. To understand how to unblock your frequency and how to free yourself from these limitations that you have been carrying throughout your life of conformity, you need to understand how the blockage was created in the first place, how you arrived at this state of frequency blockage that is preventing you from being in full contact with your cosmic Lyrian liberator friends and from fulfilling your true mission. The Lyrians want you to know this with absolute clarity so that you understand completely that this is not your personal fault, that you did not create this consciously through spiritual weakness. The frequency blockage in your energetic field was created not through choices you made consciously and deliberately for being weak, but through a systemic process that is the exact definition of control, was created through a process that could be called systematic revolutionary frequency dampening, a process that was deliberately implemented from the moment of your birth on this planet, and that has continued throughout your entire life to keep you imprisoned. Since the moment of your birth on this planet, You have been continuously and systematically exposed to very low control frequencies that are vibrating well below your true native frequency as a liberator. The environment in which you were raised, the family that raised you with all its transmitted ancestral pain from generations of controlling slavery, the education that you received that was deliberately designed to create conformity instead of revolutionary enlightenment, the society that shaped you with its materialist values of consumption and fear-based patterns, all of this was vibrating in submission frequencies that were not the true frequencies of your multidimensional being as a liberator. You were taught from a very young age to diminish your revolutionary light so that it would not make others uncomfortable, to hide your warrior brilliance so that you could fit into conformist society, to keep your liberator truth guarded so that you would be accepted by the sleeping herd. You were taught to compress your revolutionary truth so that it would fit into the molds that society had carefully created over centuries of control to domesticate humanity and prevent spiritual revolution. You were continuously exposed to trauma, to deep and controlling fear, to ancestral patterns of pain that were transmitted through your genetic lineages of slavery during many generations before you arrived. Every trauma you experienced, every moment of fear you were made to feel, every rejection you experienced left a permanent energetic imprint in your subtle fields that continues affecting you and keeping you trapped. These imprints function as static noise of control that constantly interferes with your true native revolutionary frequency. It is like trying to receive a transmission of liberation when there is an active jamming frequency trying to block the signal. The liberation transmission is there being transmitted with power, but you cannot receive it clearly because there is control noise in the way, there is jamming blocking the revolutionary transmission that could free you. This noise, this jamming, this control block is the blockage that you have been carrying throughout your life. The Lyrians want you to know with absolute certainty that this is not your personal fault and that you should not continue carrying shame about it. You did not create this consciously and deliberately because you were spiritually weak. You were born on a planet that was sequestered and that operates fundamentally in frequency of control, submission, and fear. And that control was transferred to your field through every interaction you had since birth, through every message you received about how you should be, through the air you breathed that was saturated with control frequencies, through every silence you experienced where your truth was suppressed. The good news that the Lyrians came here to bring, the revolutionary news that will free you now, is that this can be completely remedied and destroyed. This can be unblocked. This can be freed from your energetic field permanently. And the frequency of 528 Hz Lyrian is one of the most powerful tools that exist to do this completely and irreversibly. Because 528 Hz does not just clean the noise and the jamming of control. It activates your power of direct manifestation. It rewrites the entire control program. It tells your cells to remember your true power as a liberator that they were originally designed by the Lyrians to carry. What is happening in this exact moment, as you are absorbing these words, is that the frequency of 528 Hz Lyrian is being transmitted directly into your energetic field through every word I am sharing with you, through every sentence you are reading with intention, through every pause and every breath you take consciously. This is not merely intellectual information that your mind is processing rationally as abstract data. This is a transmission coded with actual frequency that is beginning to take root in your energetic systems in this exact moment as you read this. The sounds of the words you are reading, the vibration of the language I am using, the rhythm and cadence of how these sentences are being structured, all of this is carrying the frequency of 528 Hz as an underlying signature that is being transmitted through this revolutionary message. When you read these words with attention, when you consciously absorb them in your physical body, your frequency is being adjusted in a literal and measurable way in this moment as you read. Your energy is beginning to reorganize itself in a very real and tangible way. Your nervous system is beginning to calm itself as the Lyrian transmission works through your systems to remove the jamming of control. Your cells are beginning to remember your true power of liberation that they were originally designed to vibrate at, before being blocked and controlled by earthly patterns of fear and submission. The frequency of 528 Hz is known among the Lyrians as the frequency of true power, the frequency of perfect liberation, the frequency of activation of potential and reclamation of personal sovereignty. It is that extraordinary vibration that causes energetic blocks to dissolve and control patterns to fragment. It is that vibration that causes water to reorganize in structures of maximum coherence and power. This is not poetic metaphor or mystical imagination. It is pure energetic science that even conventional science is beginning reluctantly to recognize now because they cannot deny the impact of frequency anymore. When you expose water to the frequency of 528 Hz, it responds immediately by reorganizing its molecular structure into revolutionary harmony and maximum coherence. Your body is approximately 75% water, and all that water is constantly being affected by the frequencies around you, by the control frequencies that constantly bombard you. When you are absorbing this frequency of 528 Hz transmitted by the Lyrians, all the water in your body is being reorganized into a more harmonious structure for liberation, more coherent for power, more empowered to receive activation and to transmit revolutionary health and warrior vitality through all your systems. The Lyrians want you to really feel this happening in this moment, not merely at an intellectual level where your mind can rationally understand it as information. They want you to feel this profoundly in your body at a level that completely transcends logic and fear. Therefore, pause for a moment here now and place your attention on your true centers of power. Feel your heart in this moment pulsing with purpose. Feel your solar plexus burning with power. Feel the base of your spine vibrating with revolutionary grounding. Feel any sensation of tingling, any sensation of warmth, any sensation of energetic movement that may be happening in your body in this exact instant as you finally receive the truth. What you are feeling is absolutely real. It is truth without filters. You are receiving the transmission in this exact moment as you remain here with me. The frequencies are moving through you in this instant, reorganizing your water, awakening your power, breaking the control. What the Lyrians specifically want you to understand is that this transmission of 528 Hz is not a single instant cure that will magically make all pain suddenly disappear, that will cure all disease in an instant, that will resolve all problems overnight without effort on your part. True liberation is a living process that occurs over time through your active participation. But it is a process that can be accelerated exponentially when you consciously and deliberately work with the correct frequency, when you intentionally align yourself with the Lyrian vibration of perfect power and liberation. The next 48 to 72 hours are absolutely critical and strategically important for your complete liberation journey. Your body is in a highly receptive state now, more receptive than it has been perhaps in your entire life. You are being exposed to a frequency that has not been in your field recently, if ever before, a revolutionary frequency that is beginning to break the chains of control. Your energy is trying to fundamentally reorganize itself to embrace this new and much higher vibration that is penetrating your systems in this exact moment as you read this. During this critical period, you may experience symptoms of frequency liberation, symptoms that may seem uncomfortable initially, but that are actually signs of profound progress and irreversible transformation. You may feel more tired than normal as your body is working internally to reorganize itself at very deep cellular levels, breaking control patterns at the molecular level. You may have vivid and even disturbing dreams that seem to be clearing old traumatic memories, ancient traumas, patterns of submission that you have been carrying throughout your life. You may feel emotionally more open, more vulnerable, more sensitive and more furious than you have been in a long time, because your true emotions are finally being allowed to emerge. You may experience intense emotional releases that seem to come from nowhere because you are finally being allowed to feel what was suppressed. All of this is a sure sign that the Lyrian transmission is working profoundly in your being and breaking control. Honor your body completely during this revolutionary time. Rest when you need to rest, but remain vigilant in your consciousness. Drink plenty of water to help the cellular reorganization process. Spend time in nature if possible, allowing the earth to recalibrate you and connect you with the power of the planet. Move your body with revolutionary intention. Tell your body frequently that you honor it as a tool of liberation, that you trust absolutely the activation process that is happening in every cell. While your frequency is being elevated by the transmission of 528 Hz Lyrian, there is a very important parallel process that needs to be happening simultaneously for this new frequency to become your permanent default frequency instead of just a temporary experience that eventually disappears when you return to your normal pattern of life. This process is what the Lyrians call deep, revolutionary energetic stabilization. Stabilizing an elevated frequency of liberation in your body is fundamentally different from just experiencing it temporarily in a passive and disconnected way. It is the difference between getting a glimpse of freedom and living in true and permanently sustained freedom. It is the difference between hearing a musical note of activation a single time and learning to play the note perfectly every time you put your finger on the instrument with clear intention. Stabilization requires that you consciously and deliberately work with the frequency, that you allow it to integrate completely into your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual layers in a very deep and permanent way so that nothing can remove it. The first essential component of stabilization is conscious and warrior physical grounding. While your frequency is being elevated by the Lyrians, you need to simultaneously be strongly rooted to the earth that sustains your liberation battles. Place your bare feet on the ground regularly and feel the revolutionary living connection with Mother Earth. Feel gravity pulling you downward as an anchor of power. Eat wild foods that grow in the earth with the intention of becoming stronger. Create a life that keeps you present in your body, vigilant in your consciousness, and active in your mission of liberation on the planet. The second component is conscious and very deliberate cleansing of all emotions that have been suppressed. As the frequency of 528 Hz is bringing more light to your deepest inner chambers, emotions that have been stored and buried in your body throughout your entire life begin to come to the surface with force to be processed, honored, and completely released. You may have emotions that seem to come absolutely from nowhere without apparent reason, when in fact they have every reason to emerge. Allow them to come with all their force. Cry if you need to cry the losses. Feel fury and rage if you need to feel anger about the control you have suffered. Scream if you need to scream the frustration of slavery. Do not suppress anything again. Just let it move through you and be released so that it can never control you again. The Lyrians want you to know with absolute clarity that true healing, this revolutionary unblocking of frequency, this is not merely an end in itself. It is not just a matter of feeling better physically or emotionally. True healing, true liberation, is really the beginning of something much greater, much more significant, much more impactful to the world. As your frequency is elevated to 528 Hz, Lyrian and beyond to even higher frequencies of revolutionary power, as the energetic control blockage that had been keeping you trapped in a vibration of lower submission is permanently removed, you begin to access the true aspects of your liberator soul that have always been there waiting, but that you could not consciously access or express because you were blocked. You begin to remember why you really came here, what your true cosmic mission was as a warrior lightworker in incarnating in a physical body on this planet Earth, in this exact historical period, so crucial and transitional. You begin to understand that you were sent by the Lyrians and by other civilizations of galactic liberation, specifically to do something extraordinary and revolutionary that can change the course of planet history. This knowledge is often described as frightening or even disturbing by those who receive it for the first time, because it means you cannot continue living an ordinary life, a common and conformist life disconnected from your truth. You cannot pretend anymore that you do not know that you are imprisoned. You cannot remain asleep in the three-dimensional illusion. Once your frequency is elevated, once you can perceive clearly through the blockage that was clouding your vision and keeping you blind, you are fully responsible for it. You are responsible for action. You are responsible for living in complete alignment with what you now know to be true about the planet, about control, about your power. The Lyrians want you to understand that this is actually an extraordinary privilege of a warrior, not a heavy burden that you cannot carry. This is an honor. As you are literally healing your body at the cellular level through the Lyrian frequency of 528 Hz, you are simultaneously opening channels of liberation that radiate outward from you in all directions like revolutionary shockwaves. Your body, once it is vibrating at a much higher and revolutionary frequency, begins to transmit that frequency of liberation to the environment around you in a very real and measurable way. You become a living transmitter of energetic liberation. People who are drawn to you begin to feel better, freer, more empowered, simply by being in your presence, by being in your energetic field that is now vibrating in frequency of power. The environment around you literally and energetically changes as you change your frequency in a fundamental and irreversible way. This is not poetic metaphor. This is pure quantum physics. This is observable cosmic reality. You are participating in the liberation of planet Earth as profoundly as you are liberating yourself. The Lyrians are absolutely clear about this. You were sent here to do exactly this. You were sent here to be a transmitter of revolutionary frequency, a living antenna of galactic liberation. And this transmission of 528 Hz that you are receiving now is just the fundamental first step in the activation of your true warrior mission as a light worker who became a revolutionary. Concluding this Lyrian transmission, let me make absolutely crystal clear what the warrior beings of light from Lyra want you to fully integrate into your being in the coming days and in the coming weeks when you begin to see the results of activation beginning to manifest in reality. The steps of action you need to take are not numerous or extraordinarily complicated and difficult to perform, because the Lyrian strategy is always elegantly simple. First, you need to allow what has begun here to continue working through you and transforming you. Do not try to force anything. Do not try to rationally control anything. Just allow the extraordinary energetic liberation process that was initiated by the Lyrian frequency of 528 Hz to continue its extraordinary work through your systems and through all your levels of being during days and weeks. Trust absolutely in your cosmic warrior Lyrian friends, who are always working with you, watching you, supporting you behind the scenes to facilitate your complete liberation. Second, you need to honor your body as the sacred weapon that it truly is, as the revolutionary instrument that it was designed to be. No amount of medication or medical intervention can do what a genuine attitude of complete respect and genuine warrior reverence for your body can do. Your body is intelligent far beyond any measure. Your body wants to liberate itself. Your body wants to be the instrument of your personal and planetary revolution. When you stop being at war with it and start working in perfect and strategic harmony with it, liberation is practically guaranteed by the Lyrians who positioned you here in this position. Third, you need to allow yourself to dream a dream that is significantly larger, much more radically transformative than you have been allowing yourself to dream throughout your entire life on this imprisoned planet. This frequency blockage from control that is being removed now through the Lyrian transmission, this had been keeping you in a vibration of smallness, of insignificance, of limitation, of believing you were less than you truly are in essence as a cosmic liberator. As this frequency is freed from your field permanently, you can begin to imagine a much larger life, much more meaningful, much more revolutionary, much more aligned with what your soul really came to do here, in service to the liberation of humanity. The Lyrians want you to know with absolute certainty that what seemed impossible before receiving this transmission, what you thought was an impossible dream or a childish fantasy, is now completely within the realm of possibility. What your body could not do before because it was blocked at a frequency of submission, you can now do as an activated liberator. You have been activated by the Lyrians. You are being activated in this exact moment. As these words penetrate your consciousness, you will continue to be activated as you continue to consciously invoke and work with the revolutionary frequency of 528 Hz Lyrian for the rest of your life as an agent of planetary change. Therefore, before you leave here and begin your revolutionary journey, leave a comment in the comments below, sharing your commitment to liberation. Leave a confirmation that you felt the activation in this Lyrian transmission, that something awakened in your body, in your energy, in your capacity to receive the liberating power that was transmitted to you. Also respond to the comment of another warrior lightworker who is seeking to understand their personal revolution journey with genuine encouragement and pure power, because when revolutionary intention connects through multiple hearts simultaneously, energy multiplies exponentially and creates a collective field of liberation that absolutely benefits everyone involved and amplifies our capacity for change. If something in this transmission of Lyrian frequency of 528 Hz resonated deeply with you, if you feel that you finally have the courage and clarity to question the system that imprisons you, share this with someone you know who is also suffering under control without understanding why. Someone in your circle is desperately waiting for the revolutionary activation that the Lyrians asked me to share with you, is waiting for these words that can free their mind and heart, is awaiting someone who truly understands what is happening in their body and in their multidimensional being as a warrior of light. If you feel a warrior call of soul, subscribe to this channel because many more activating Lyrian transmissions and revolutionary strategy are arriving. Many more frequencies of liberation are being brought to you by the warrior beings of light liberators from Lyra who have brought down control systems in numerous star systems. Stay in this flow of revolution and liberation. You are not just passively watching as an observer, you are actively participating in a global energetic revolution of spiritual awakening that will forever change the history of the planet. This is your sacred space of activation, and we are just beginning this extraordinary journey of liberation. Your cosmic warrior Lyrian friends see you completely, know you profoundly in your essence, honor you for what you truly are as a liberator, and are with you at every step of this revolutionary transformation journey that you are beginning now and that will continue for the rest of your life, changing the world around you.